Brooklyn Independent Television.
Straight ahead on Sector B, the business of Brooklyn. Nope, this isn't the 1900s. In Canarsie, we visit a company that is still making and delivering seltzer.
There's nothing else like it. We are the only ones left in the city.
Coney Island has undergone its fair share of development over the years. But how has it translated into helping the surrounding community?
The jobs are seasonal at this time. We're hoping to get more jobs that are permanent.
And
this is Lou, take one.
These two women are building a business out of their customers' memories and memorabilia.
You can have lists and lists of names and places where people travel to and were born, but until you know the story, you don't have the essence.
So get your story straight and get with the program.
Hello, I'm Randy Piers. Welcome to Sector B, the business of Brooklyn on Brooklyn Independent Television. 2 cents plain is a phrase out of the city's Depression-era history when a glass of seltzer water cost 2 cents, as opposed to an egg cream, which would have set you back a whole quarter. Nowadays, we buy seltzer at the supermarket, or even make it at home with a machine that makes some very crude noises. But out in Canarsie, one company is still making and delivering seltzer as they've done for 4 generations.
Gomberg Seltzer Works is an old business established in 1953. We bottle seltzer here, much different than the seltzer that you get in the plastic bottles in the supermarket. This bottle is bottled under pressure. You squeeze the trigger and you get seltzer. Right now I'm 3rd generation, actually have 4th generation waiting to take over.
People just like this old business. So for me, I just think it's really nice that we have a business like this that has gone on since 1953. And there's something in me that feels that I want to be part of that.
This business in its heyday was a very big business. There were many, many seltzer shops. There were probably thousands of seltzer men with tens of thousands of customers, clients. The numbers have dwindled over the years due to many factors. The 1 and 2 liter plastic seltzer bottles in the supermarket has hurt our business terribly. Many years ago, mothers were home. There was somebody in the house to accept the delivery. Women went out into the workplace, which is a great thing, but what that did was it left empty homes, and that took its toll on the delivery business over the years. But we're looking to bring it back because there's still a lot of interest in a product like this. Everybody's into retro, and this is about as retro as it gets. To make seltzer, basically you take New York City tap water. It's triple filtered, it's refrigerated, it's chilled, and then it gets drawn into a carbonator. Inside the carbonator, there's water and CO2, carbon dioxide, and that gets mixed in the carbonator, and there's actually seltzer, that's seltzer. The difference between our seltzer and the plastic bottled seltzer that you buy in the stores, our seltzer is bottled under pressure, as opposed to the 2 liter and 1 liter plastic seltzer bottle. When you twist that cap off and you hear that tss, that's all the pressure. Whatever pressure was in that bottle, that's all that pressure going out. So you're left with a flatter seltzer. When you let go of this trigger, that valve closes and the pressure remains in the bottle. There's nothing else like it. We are the only ones left in the city. There are a few seltzer bottlers sprinkled throughout the country, but we're the only ones in New York. I'm hoping that my son is going to take this business to another level. We've been out of the delivery business for many years. We're getting back into the delivery business, and there are plenty of people out there who are just not aware that we exist.
I want to see this business go off into a direction that it's never been before. I want to bring seltzer into more homes. I want to go into bars. I want to go into restaurants. There's room for growth, and as long as there's interest, we're still going to be here.
For years, Avis Rental Cars aired one of TV's best-known ad campaigns, featuring their famous slogan, "We're number two, we try harder." Competition among national chains is tough, but what if you're competing with all the chains? What if, like so many small businesses, you're an independent? And when it comes to renting a car, most people have no idea how many independent companies are out there. Here to talk about how that market sector is doing, and to give us his take on the local economy as a member of the executive board of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, is Gil Cyglar, president of All Car Rent-A-Car. Gil, thanks for being here.
Sure, thank you, Randy. It's my honor to be here.
So Gil, tell us, how did you get involved in the rent-a-car business?
Years ago in the 70s, my father had a repair shop. And what he did is he was repairing cars, and we were out in the Georgetown Mill Basin section of Brooklyn. And people had no way of getting to and from work when they left their cars for repair. So we decided to purchase a number of cars and provide loaner transportation for people. And that eventually grew into the car rental business it is today.
And how large is the independent car rental sector?
It's actually a dwindling market, especially in New York. There's not many major independent companies out there. Primarily the insurance companies direct most of their insureds to one or two of the major chains, which is a detriment to both the consumer and to the independent company. If they only had a choice of where to go, which they actually do under New York state law, but most of them don't realize they have the choice, they could get a better car, probably save a lot of their out-of-pocket expense, and not need some of the upgrades or insurance products the national chains will push on them.
I think it's important to note that you helped to pass that law in New York State that opened up the field for independents. Is that correct?
Correct. It definitely helped the independents and companies like ours, but it primarily was a consumer-driven bill. When we would meet a lot of the elected officials, the first thing they would tell us, that happened to me. I had an accident. I was directed to one of the national companies, and I was forced to pay significantly out of pocket above what the insurance company allowed for the rental allowance. Companies like ours will rent the cars for the exact amount the insurance company pays you, so basically the only out-of-pocket expense you have is taxes. So we're saving people money, which all the more so in this economy, and we usually provide a larger size car. So there's a lot of advantages to using the independents over the major companies.
It's interesting, too, because when I think the average person thinks about the rental car industry, they think about tourists. But how large is this insurance marketplace within rent-a-car businesses?
It's actually a huge part of the market. Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which is the nation's largest rent-a-car company, was founded strictly on the basis of the local market. Hertz, which is now number 2 in the market, is now focusing as well on the local market. So tourists do comprise a lot of the market. However, the local market is probably the biggest segment of the car rental industry, and it's probably the one that's forgotten the most.
So recently, you launched a new venture, a car share venture called Carpingo. Can you tell us a little bit about that venture?
Sure. It was very exciting to be in the whole aspect, from starting from the naming process to actually rolling it out, which we did about a month ago. It's actually allowing us to take car rental to the consumer where they live. So basically now we are having cars parked in garages and lots throughout Brooklyn to start. And people now can rent a car when they want and almost where they want. There's no longer the need to go to the rental office and wait in line or proceed with the paperwork. You go online, become a member, which is very inexpensive, and you can rent a car for as long as you need it for, as low as $4.50 an hour. You could keep it for the entire day. Gas is included, insurance is included. So it's really just go in, swipe your card, take the car, bring it back to the same location you got it from, and just walk away. So it's nice and easy, and it's very consumer friendly, and it's going to allow us to reach out, expand the reach of our company into the local hands, where people live. They don't have to necessarily come to our office.
I think we first became familiar with this type of program through Zipcar. So how is Carpingo different than Zipcar?
Well, primarily we're a local-based company, so it's a big advantage when you're dealing with a locally based company. We're also partnering with a lot of local companies. For example, we just partnered with a juice maker called BAI Beverages, which we're going to have beverages in all the cars. We have a lot of the local publications, the Greenpoint Gazette, and some other local papers. The Brooklyn Eagle will be in some of our vehicles, as well as some other partnerships that we're exploring now. Our rates are lower than Zipcar's. We may be in some of the off-beaten paths or some of the forgotten neighborhoods that Zipcar may not want to tackle. And dealing with a local homegrown company a lot of times has a little bit of advantages because we can reach a local New Yorker on the phone, a Brooklyn and New York-based company. So we understand New York, and we can help and accommodate some things that a national chain cannot.
And what types of cars are we talking about here? I noticed Fiat, for example, was one of the cars of choice for Carpingo.
Right. It's actually, I fell in love with that car. It's a small car, but has tremendous pep and a lot of leg and headroom, surprisingly, for the car. We're going to have cargo vans to help you move stuff about, minivans, cute cars like the Fiat. And then, most of the cars are very economical. We have the Toyota Corolla, the Honda Civic, the Toyota Camry, Hyundai Sonatas. So we're having cars that people want to drive, not necessarily cars that we feel are good for the market. We listen to what our consumers have to say and what New Yorkers have to say, and those are the cars that we respond to.
So let's put your Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce hat on and your entrepreneur hat on in general. What's your take on the local economy these days?
I think it's still struggling. We feel that things are definitely getting better. I think the mood and the confidence level is there. We still see high degrees of people underemployed or overly concerned. I know when we do place job ads, it's not a preponderance of applications, so I think that the market is stabilizing somewhat. On the other hand, I think that the market in general is tending towards a little bit lower wage and service jobs as opposed to some of the higher income jobs that the economy overall has had years ago. And I think that market may be still lagging, but I think the mood among business owners is feeling a little more upbeat, at least here in New York. I think things are looking brighter.
So in many ways, Brooklyn is still the home of the entrepreneur. What advice would you have for new entrepreneurs starting a business these days here in Brooklyn?
I think it's getting involved, realizing that a lot of people don't realize that organizations like the Brooklyn Chamber or other locals chambers or community bids and organizations really have a lot of things to benefit the owner, from networking, from advice, from community involvement, and a lot of times giving back to the community. It doesn't maybe show immediate results, but it does in return give you added benefits and good name recognition and goodwill. And I think it helps advance the business projects overall.
Well, great advice from a successful entrepreneur. Gil, thanks for being here.
Sure. Thank you, Randy. Thank you.
Now from rental cars to bumper cars. Out in Coney Island, Sector B's Sherry Carabin takes a look at what's happening with jobs in a section of the city that's undergoing a lot of development. She also visited the neighboring community of Brighton Beach, where employment has started to climb for a different reason.
From the boardwalk of Coney Island to this shopping strip in Brighton Beach, the downturn doesn't appear to be hurting business in these neighborhoods. In fact, according to a report by State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli, the economies of these two communities are growing faster than the rest of the city, with the greater Coney Island area gaining over 1,800 private sector jobs in 2010.
People working very hard in this area to produce jobs, to open new businesses, and the community board, elected officials, community activists will work together. So we were expecting a good numbers on the jobs, but surprised that we have such a good numbers, and it's such a big difference versus some other areas in the city.
Many, like Eddie Mark, chairman of Community Board 13, attribute the recent gains to the 2009 rezoning of the area, designed to create a year-round urban amusement and entertainment district. Since then, the opening of Luna Park and the Scream Zone have drawn thousands of additional visitors, creating hundreds of jobs.
There's new rides in the area, and we have new attractions, and people are willing to come. With the attractions comes jobs. The jobs are seasonal at this time. We're hoping to get more jobs that are permanent and that are year-round, but at this time it's more of a seasonal job.
Coney Island has really turned the corner. We have a growing amusement park, a first-rate amusement park. That park maintains good jobs, quality jobs, entry jobs for Coney Island youth, training, responsible behavior, and that government stimulus where the city has worked with Luna Park is succeeding, and success means that the private sector is now taking over.
The boardwalk itself is also being transformed, with new offerings on the horizon like Tom's Restaurant.
Tom's Restaurant that is located right now, I guess, in Park Slope on Washington Avenue. And they're opening up another one here called Tom's of Coney Island. And they're going to be a breakfast, lunch, and dinner type of restaurant.
Some of our old favored restaurants like Ruby's Bar or Paul's Daughter are still here, but they did major renovation and transformation.
Next year, the historic B&B Carousel that's now being renovated in Ohio will make its way back to the boardwalk.
The aquarium's about to expand. Marty Markowitz is going to be funding a major new amphitheater for Coney Island.
Brooklyn Borough President Marty Markowitz has also come out in favor of a casino in Coney Island, should New York legalize gambling within the next few years.
It will be part of a Coney Island experience. Coney Island has the boardwalk, it has the beaches, it has the aquarium, Nathan's Hot Dog, it has everything. The casino will just add to it.
Whether or not a casino ever becomes a reality, the growth has begun spilling out onto Surf Avenue. This summer, Grimaldi's Pizzeria opened a Coney Island location, adding a number of permanent jobs.
I live around the corner, so this area I grew up here, and it's very busy here, and especially summer. Weekends, weekdays, when it's nice weather out like it is today, people are always coming in after the park, before the park, and everybody's just having a good time and in a good mood. I never expected a Grimaldi's here, but I love it. I've been to the other Grimaldi's, the original one. I love Grimaldi's pizza. And this area has changed over the years.
Many patrons say they like the changes.
They fixed it up a lot. It looks a lot nicer than it used to be. Because I used to come here back in the 70s when I was a kid, and they changed a lot. A lot of new stores and everything. And it looks nice, the neighborhood. It's a lot safer than it used to be, and a lot cleaner than it used to be.
My impressions were that it was going to be all run down, but when I got here it was kind of nice. We got to eat at the famous Nathan's, and it was really good.
However, one longtime Coney business owner who didn't want to speak on camera says the city is not doing enough to help older businesses. And this patron is not ready to give the changes a glowing report either.
What I see happening to here, that all this is going to be taken down, and either they're going to bring in gambling, which I hope they do, because it'll bring a lot more money. But if you go 2 blocks in one way, or you go 2 blocks in that way, there's really nothing. There used to be good, lively neighborhoods, and it's not here no more.
Although not everyone is happy about what's going on in Coney Island, in the case of Brighton Beach, the changes are not quite as obvious.
Well, Brighton Beach is the area where we do have some growth, but not as big as we have here in Coney Island. The growth that we see in Brighton Beach here is mostly in social services, healthcare businesses. Coney Island Hospital is growing.
Brighton Beach does have a number of food stores and eateries, as well as discount businesses. St. Petersburg on Brighton Beach Avenue has been around for about 12 years, and the manager says business has been good. The store sells all types of Russian souvenirs, books, and other items, a perfect fit for the largely immigrant community, many who've recently come over from Russia and Ukraine.
A lot of stuff, very old Russian tradition, like gel or khakhlama. It's very old Russian tradition souvenirs. But we have some new products, like this silk pareo and the dresses. This is very old Russian style called palekh. This is beautiful pictures and very old Russian tradition. This stuff is expensive. You see, this is $600.
So who are your customers?
90% is Russian people who live here or around the states around here. And 10-15% it's English speaking, of course.
While Brighton Beach is doing well, officials are working to make it more consumer-friendly to those outside of the area.
Within the last 15-20 years, we've been trying to promote the idea that it should be for everyone. Promoting the idea that the English language should be the first one in every label in the store. And while we're almost there, we're not completely there yet.
I think what comes out is that if Coney Island is successful, Brighton Beach is successful, and other parts of the neighborhood are successful too.
If we were to take a look 20 years down the road, what will Coney Island be like?
Now, I think 20 years is a long time to look forward to, but hopefully in 5 years and 10 years, I think there'll be more gaps filled in between along the boardwalk. 10 years from now, the neighborhood is going to change.
This is Sherry Carabin reporting for Sector B.
When an elderly person's home has to be emptied out for whatever reason, the family may feel like it's rummaging through a personal history museum that's had no curator. Letters and photos can turn up in books and drawers and who knows where, and the stories that go along with those precious items may be in danger of being lost forever. For two women who work in Gowanus, keeping history from disappearing was the inspiration behind a new business.
We gotta set up some stuff.
What?
We're gonna set up some stuff. Yeah. Place this right here. Alright, this is Lou, take one. Okay, Lou. So why don't you start introducing yourself and the...
StoryKeep is a multimedia production company, and we specialize in audio and video recordings of family stories. So it's meant to create heirlooms for families to pass on to future generations.
We got married 14 years before Valerie was born, so it was a very carefree living. You know,
our backgrounds are in documentary film and radio production, so we've always had a passion for people's life stories. And we just realized there wasn't a way for people to really capture those stories if they didn't have the time or didn't know how to do it themselves. So we decided to provide that for people.
I learned a little from my father. When he first came over, he did the same thing. He was here not even 3 years and he had his own business already.
Lou is an incredible guy, and his daughter-in-law knew that she wanted to capture his spirit, his gestures, his voice. He has these incredible hands, and he grew up in the Great Depression, so there's just, from that moment until now, he just has so many stories to tell. So she, at the time, had a 2-year-old son, and she wanted to make sure that her son would really know his grandfather. So she asked us to come and record his entire life story, and has told us that she plans to give the finished piece to her son and now her young daughter when they're about 12 or 13.
Oh my God, look at that.
Look at that guy.
I was 18. Can you believe it?
Well, we sit down with the storyteller and the storyteller's family, and we'll sit down and talk about the whole process and what stories they really want to capture, what media they might have. We digitize anything. So if they have old 8mm rotting away in their attic, old slides, anything, yeah. So we take sort of an inventory of all the media that they have and make a blueprint for what stories they want to capture. And so after we do the meeting, we schedule a number of recording sessions, typically, with the storyteller. It can, span a couple months sometimes. And then we start editing the final product together.
This is really a nice way to open the piece. Yeah, I mean, maybe we might want to put Queens, New York there, just to kind of give it. Yeah.
We've definitely come up with, come against a few challenges. I think the main one is that people wait too long sometimes. They think they want to wait until someone's really ripe with wisdom to say, Dad, I think we want to record your story. And I don't know if it's because they think the person might view them as old or something like that. But sometimes, and also life just gets in the way. You think, I'm going to do this, I know this is important. And there's as many times as someone's come up and said, this is the person I want you to record. People have come up and said, I wish that I would have met you 3, 4, 5 years ago or 2 months ago. And so that breaks our heart. Personally and also as business owners.
And I thought that this would be a nice spot to put these 3 photos.
Yeah, I think that really works. We've been working on this exclusively for just about a year, but both of us have been in our respective fields for 5 or 6 years before that, sort of preparing essentially in a way for this destined moment of starting StoryKeep. Yeah, well, a lot of people find us on our website, storykeep.org. And we have a lot of clients who come to us from word of mouth. I mean, someone will tell their friend, I had StoryKeep come and record my father, and it was a wonderful experience. And so it just sort of rolls like that.
Here, I'm just going to start the credits from the top to get a sense of...
I don't know if anyone has a better job than us, truly. I mean, we have the opportunity to see the world through so many people's perspectives and meet different families who value a lot of similar things and a lot of different things too, and to be in their homes. It's an honor, and it is an opportunity to validate people's individual stories and create these beautiful heirlooms. So we get to do sort of crafty work and also sort of journalistic work. So
it's not often that people have the opportunity to tell their story. And so when you sit down with someone, especially an elder in a family who's clearly so important to the family, to be able to sit down with them and really say, look, I'm doing nothing for the next however many hours except listen to you. And I mean, it's a magical experience. This is our passion, and we hope to be doing it for a very long time.
That's it this month from Sector B. If you want to check out any of the companies or programs we have just featured, their phone numbers and links are about to roll across your screen. To see past episodes of the show, go to our website at brickartsmedia.org/BIT and then click on Sector B. And you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter on BK Independent TV. I'm Randy Piers. Thanks for watching.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at brickartsmedia.org/BIT.